For years, the public believed that Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck's marriage fell apart mainly because of Ben's personal struggles, especially his battle with alcoholism. Jennifer Garner herself rarely spoke about it, and even after their divorce, she consistently avoided discussing what had happened between them. But in early 2026, in one of her rare public comments, Jennifer unexpectedly revealed that the story was far more complicated than people had always assumed. According to her, the cracks in their marriage were not caused solely by the problems the public already knew about. There was another issue that had existed for years, quietly creating distance between them and ultimately pushing their marriage to its breaking point. What caught many people's attention was that in those remarks, Jennifer mentioned a name that had been closely tied to Ben Affleck for decades, prompting many to revisit the entire story from a different perspective. It was also the first time Jennifer had revealed something she had kept private for many years after their divorce. So, what did Jennifer Garner actually go through during that marriage? Why did a woman who fought so hard to keep her family together eventually decide to let go? To understand why Jennifer Garner has always been so patient in her relationships, we need to go back long before she became a Hollywood star. Jennifer Garner was born on April 17, 1972, in Houston, Texas, but she grew up in Charleston, West Virginia, from the age of 3. Her father was a chemical engineer, and her mother was an English teacher, so Garner's childhood was shaped by discipline, education, and a rather modest lifestyle. She initially studied chemistry at Denison University but gradually fell in love with theater and decided to switch to acting, a decision that completely changed the course of her life. After graduating, Jennifer Garner moved to New York to pursue an acting career with virtually nothing to her name. She worked a variety of jobs to support herself while taking on small roles in television shows. The early years of her career were far from easy. Many of the projects she joined were quickly cancelled, her name went largely unnoticed, and she endured countless auditions without landing her breakthrough role. Her biggest breakthrough came in 2001 when she was cast as Sydney Bristow in the television series Alias. Her portrayal of the strong yet emotionally complex spy instantly catapulted Jennifer Garner to stardom. The series not only brought her worldwide recognition but also earned her a Golden Globe Award, transforming her from an unknown actress into one of television's biggest stars of the early 2000s. Following the success of Alias, Jennifer Garner moved into feature films and continued to establish herself in Hollywood with movies such as 13 Going on 30, Daredevil, Elektra, and Dallas Buyers Club. Rather than chasing glamour or scandals, she won audiences over with her natural acting style, approachable personality, and warm, relatable image. Those qualities helped her maintain lasting popularity for many years. Jennifer Garner's career appeared smooth and fulfilling, but behind the scenes, her love life was marked by more than a few ups and downs. Before meeting Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner found love with actor Scott Foley during one of the most challenging periods of her life. In 1998, Jennifer met Scott Foley while they were both working on the hit television series Felicity. At the time, Garner played the girlfriend of Foley's character. They fell in love almost immediately and soon began dating. 2 years later, in October 2000, they decided to marry in a small private ceremony held in the backyard of their home, away from the media spotlight. It was a beautiful day shared only with their closest loved ones. Their wedding marked the beginning of a marriage that both of them believed would last. Just 1 year after getting married, Jennifer Garner's career changed dramatically when she was cast as Sydney Bristow in the hit television series Alias. She quickly became an A-list star with a demanding schedule that took her all over the world, leaving less and less time for family. Meanwhile, Foley continued building his own career at a slower pace, and the distance between them gradually widened. Their limited time together, the pressures of fame, and their increasingly different career trajectories created an invisible but steadily growing rift, causing their once loving relationship to become emotionally exhausting. In the spring of 2003, when Garner appeared alone on the Academy Awards red carpet, the public began questioning Foley's absence. A few days later, on March 23, the couple officially announced their separation, and their divorce was finalized the following year, citing irreconcilable differences. Foley later stated candidly that there had been no affair or betrayal. Jennifer had simply become an enormous star, and life could no longer continue as it once had. Garner also admitted that they had become victims of Hollywood, where life moves at an overwhelming pace and everything can fall apart in an instant. She once reflected that if they had lived in the quiet countryside where she grew up, things might have turned out differently. But the harsh reality, she said, was that their marriage ended because they never had a chance to survive the storm that came with fame. Despite the pain of their separation, both Garner and Foley continued to speak of each other with admiration and respect. Garner described Foley as a good man and acknowledged that they had both tried their best but simply could not save the marriage. Heartbreak, she admitted, was unavoidable. They remained gracious whenever they crossed paths at Hollywood events, even though they no longer kept in regular contact. It was also in 2003 that fate opened the most important chapter of Jennifer Garner's life. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck first met on the set of the blockbuster Pearl Harbor in 2001, but at the time, neither of them was single. It wasn't until they reunited while filming Daredevil in 2003 that their friendship truly blossomed. Although they still remain nothing more than close friends and colleagues, Daredevil itself failed to live up to expectations. The film received mixed reviews, underperformed at the box office, and was quickly overshadowed by other blockbusters. What audiences didn't realize at the time, however, was that the movie had created an important bond between two people whose lives would profoundly change each other's in the years to come. At the time, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez's relationship was at the height of media attention, making them one of the world's most closely watched celebrity couples. They met while filming Geely in 2002 and quickly entered a high-profile romance that attracted relentless paparazzi attention. Every aspect of their lives, from dinners and red carpet appearances to ordinary everyday moments, was closely documented, leaving them with virtually no real privacy. By the end of 2002, Ben Affleck had proposed to Jennifer Lopez with the now famous pink diamond ring, and the couple officially became engaged. At the time, they were regarded as Hollywood's golden couple, making frequent appearances on red carpets and dominating the media. However, mounting public scrutiny and overwhelming media attention began to place enormous strain on their relationship, causing their wedding plans to be postponed. During this period, Jennifer Lopez was still navigating major changes in her personal life, including the end of her previous marriage, while Ben Affleck was facing increasing pressure from his career and relentless media scrutiny. Although they continued to display affection in public, their relationship gradually became difficult to sustain under the immense weight of entertainment media attention. By early 2004, the couple officially called off their engagement and ended their relationship. Their breakup announcement attracted worldwide attention, bringing one of the most famous love stories of the early 2000s to a close. Both eventually moved on to other relationships, but Jennifer continued to be remembered as a symbol of a Hollywood romance that had been burned out by the spotlight. Jennifer Garner, meanwhile, was the complete opposite. She lived a quiet, private life, had just gone through a divorce, and had little interest in becoming the center of public attention. Jennifer later stated many times that she and Ben did not begin a romantic relationship while filming Daredevil. However, those around them sensed that there was a special connection between them. Perhaps it was simply friendship, mutual admiration, or a sense of familiarity that neither of them was yet ready to define. Whatever it was, though, a seed had been planted at that moment. And when life brought them back together at exactly the right time, that seed would grow into one of Hollywood's most talked about love stories. When Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez officially ended their engagement in early 2004, he and Jennifer Garner finally came together. To many people, Jennifer Garner seemed to be exactly the kind of woman Ben Affleck needed at that stage of his life. She was private, calm, family-oriented, and stayed away from Hollywood drama. If Jennifer Lopez represented bright lights and worldwide attention, Jennifer Garner offered peace and stability. Many believed she could help Ben regain the balance he had lost after years of living under the crushing pressure of fame. What made their romance unique was that it did not begin with candlelit dates or bouquets of flowers, but with emails. Affleck, who was well known for his writing, deeply impressed Garner through thoughtful and heartfelt messages that genuinely moved her, helping her realize that he was not just a glamorous movie star but also a deeply thoughtful man. Their feelings developed naturally and quickly, and just a few months later, they made their first public appearance together at a Boston Red Sox baseball game in October 2004, officially confirming their relationship. To Garner, Affleck was charming, intelligent, and funny. To Affleck, Garner embodied the warmth and stability he had long been searching for. Only 9 months after they began dating, Affleck proposed to Garner on her 33rd birthday in April 2005, and she happily accepted. They were married that June on a beach in Turks and Caicos, but without any of Hollywood's usual extravagance. It was a private and intimate ceremony attended only by Victor Garber, Garner's close Alias co-star, who officiated the wedding. Shortly after their wedding, they announced that they were expecting their first child, and their family life began with overwhelming happiness. Their first daughter, Violet Ann, was born at the end of 2005, followed by Serafina Rose Elizabeth in 2009 and Samuel Garner in 2012. Throughout their marriage, Affleck publicly praised Garner, calling her the most important person in his life and the strongest source of support for his career. Garner, in turn, did everything she could to keep their home peaceful and loving. Despite their demanding schedules, they always tried to make time for each other and for their children. From the outside, they appeared to be one of Hollywood's most powerful and admired couples, and it seemed as though their fairy tale would last forever. But when Affleck accepted the Academy Award for Argo in 2013, he remarked in his acceptance speech that their marriage was work that he was willing to do. In hindsight, that may have been the first public sign that cracks had quietly begun to appear. After 10 years together, on June 30, 2015, the couple shocked the world by releasing a joint statement announcing their separation. They emphasized the deep friendship and mutual respect they still had for one another. They admitted that they had grown apart and could no longer make the marriage work despite their best efforts. The primary reasons they cited were overwhelming work schedules and the pressures of fame, a story that had become all too familiar among Hollywood couples. Because, like so many marriages, what the public saw was only part of the story. From the earliest years of their life together, private struggles had already begun to emerge behind closed doors. Ben Affleck had long battled alcoholism, a fight he himself repeatedly acknowledged was both prolonged and extraordinarily difficult. He sought treatment before their marriage and continued trying to manage his addiction for many years afterward. Shortly after news of their separation became public, another scandal erupted when the media reported that Affleck had developed a close relationship with the family's nanny, Christine Uzunian. The story was immediately rumored to be the cause of their breakup. Garner, however, quickly came to her former husband's defense, explaining that they had already been separated for several months before the incident and saying she believed it amounted to nothing more than really bad judgment. She displayed remarkable courage and grace in the face of intense media scrutiny, always treating Affleck with respect and refusing to blame him for everything that had happened. For his part, Affleck never hesitated to acknowledge his own mistakes and shortcomings, and he consistently praised Garner as an extraordinary woman and a wonderful mother. Although their marriage officially ended in 2018 when their divorce was finalized, what made their story unique was that Garner and Affleck never truly drifted apart as parents. They established a co-parenting relationship that many in the media regarded as one of Hollywood's greatest success stories. Together, they took their children to school, attended birthday parties and family celebrations, and even went on vacations together as a family. Garner once said that Affleck would always be the love of her life, while Affleck repeatedly emphasized that Garner remained his most important partner in raising their children and that he would always be grateful to her for that. After Affleck rekindled his relationship with former fiancée Jennifer Lopez in 2021 and married her in 2022, Garner continued to be a steady source of support. She even congratulated them and said they deserved to be happy. Then, in 2024, when news broke that Jennifer Lopez had filed for divorce after 2 years of marriage to Ben Affleck, headlines around the world immediately began comparing the two marriages. The similarities were discussed endlessly. Experts, commentators, and the media all tried to explain what had gone wrong. But perhaps for Jennifer Garner, it was no longer her story to tell. The lesson she needed to learn had been learned a long time ago. For many people watching this story from the outside, everything seemed strangely familiar. 2 different marriages, 2 different women, and 2 different periods in Ben Affleck's life. Yet the same questions kept emerging. What was striking was that throughout all of it, Jennifer Garner remained almost completely silent. She did not give interviews criticizing her ex-husband, did not try to prove that she was right, and did not appear triumphant when someone else's private life became turbulent. Instead, she simply continued living her life quietly. She chose to step away from the spotlight for a while to focus on healing and raising her 3 young children, who had always been her top priority. Even though her marriage to Affleck ended painfully, Garner never allowed bitterness to take control. Instead, she built an extraordinarily successful co-parenting relationship with her ex-husband, willingly attending family parties, celebrations, and even vacations together so their children would always feel loved. Her grace and forgiveness during this period earned the admiration of many people because not everyone is able to face divorce with such dignity and humanity. While dedicating time to her family, Garner also gradually revealed a new private relationship, like a fresh breeze entering her life. At the end of 2018, she began dating John Miller, a successful businessman who serves as chairman of Cali Group and CEO of Pop ID. Unlike her previous high-profile relationships with Hollywood stars, this one was protected very carefully. They often took private weekend trips together and built a relationship based on mutual respect and understanding. Miller had also been married before and had children of his own, which helped the two of them connect through their shared views on family and responsibility. However, their relationship was not always smooth, as reports occasionally suggested that Miller felt uncomfortable with how close Garner remained to Ben Affleck because of their co-parenting arrangement. Garner and Miller's relationship experienced a brief setback when they separated in 2020, but their feelings rekindled, and they reunited in 2021. Since then, they have maintained a stable and private relationship. And despite persistent engagement rumors, Garner has not rushed into marriage again. Some sources close to her say she is carefully considering everything and has even thought about signing a prenuptial agreement to protect her assets as a way of safeguarding the happiness she has rebuilt from unnecessary complications. After everything she had been through, Jennifer Garner became calmer and wiser, understanding what was worth holding on to and what needed to be let go in order to protect the peaceful life she was trying to build each day. No longer caught up in the noise of the past, Jennifer now chooses to look back on everything from a place of quiet reflection. In 2026, in her latest interview with People, Jennifer Garner opened up more deeply than ever before about her past marriage to Ben Affleck, a chapter of her life that she described as beautiful but also filled with silent cracks that no one could see from the outside. Sitting in the warm kitchen of her Los Angeles home, the 54-year-old actress, with bright eyes and a gentle smile, spoke candidly about the pain she had quietly endured for years. "I stayed silent for a long time because I wanted to protect my children and protect Ben. But I think it's time people understand the truth," she said in a soft but steady voice. Jennifer said that when she entered the marriage, she deeply believed in people's ability to change, believing that love and patience could help two people overcome any storm. "I did everything I could to keep my family together," she shared, her voice calm but heavy with emotion. Over time, however, the pressures of work, fame, and their personal lives began to create distance between them. Garner admitted that Affleck's alcoholism was one of the main reasons their marriage deteriorated. "But it was not the only reason. I could endure the long nights of battling the bottle. I could take him to rehab for the third time. I could stay standing when he collapsed. But what I couldn't endure was that every time we argued, he would bring up her name," she whispered, referring to Jennifer. "I was his wife. I was the mother of his 3 children, but I was never good enough in his eyes because I wasn't her." The actress revealed that Affleck often compared her to J. Lo during heated arguments, from the way she dressed to the way she walked a red carpet, even to the level of her fame. "Ben told me I was too gentle, too settled, that I lacked passion, that I wasn't big enough. He wanted a woman who was more dazzling, and I understood that in his mind she was the perfect embodiment of that brilliance," Garner said, her eyes glistening. "Those words pierced my heart every day. I tried to change. I tried to become more noticeable, but eventually I realized I couldn't be someone else, and I didn't want to prove anything anymore." She recalled one particularly painful night when she and Affleck were arguing about their daughter's birthday party. "He said to me, J. Lo would do this in a much grander way. She'd turn it into an event. You just want a small party in the garden." And I stood there holding our child in my arms, realizing that I couldn't live in another woman's shadow forever. "My love for him was never enough to erase that pain," she said, placing a hand gently against her chest. Affleck's reunion and subsequent remarriage to Jennifer Lopez in 2022 remained a lingering wound, but Garner said it ultimately set her free. "When they got back together, I was hurt, but I also realized that it answered all the questions I had been asking myself for years. I wasn't his choice, and I accepted that. At some point, you realize that trying is not the same thing as being happy," she said in the interview. "And sometimes loving someone also means knowing when to let go." After the divorce, Garner said she found a sense of peace she had never experienced during her 13-year marriage. She emphasized that the decision to divorce did not come from a single event but from a long process during which both of them gradually understood that they were no longer moving in the same direction. Even so, Jennifer has always maintained respect for Ben in his role as the father of her children. Looking back, she concluded simply, "Life is not about keeping everything. It's about learning how to live well with what remains." Beyond her love life, Garner has proven that she is not only a movie star but also a savvy businesswoman. She co-founded the organic children's food company Once Upon a Farm, a project she is deeply passionate about and which has achieved significant success. The business has not only provided her with additional income but has also reflected her genuine concern for children's health and nutrition. At the same time, Garner gradually returned to acting, taking on selected film and television projects, but she carefully chose scripts that could be filmed close to home so she would not have to be away from her children for too long. At 54, Jennifer Garner continues to maintain impressive physical and mental health thanks to a disciplined fitness routine and a balanced lifestyle. She regularly practices boxing, jumping exercises, and cycling, and personal trainers have commented that she has the conditioning of a professional athlete. More importantly, Garner has developed a philosophy of being kind to herself, openly acknowledging life's imperfections and accepting that things do not always go according to plan. On social media, she frequently shares simple, unpolished moments from everyday life, from cooking and gardening to candid makeup-free photos, which has only deepened the public's appreciation for her authenticity and down-to-earth personality. Today, Jennifer Garner's life resembles a powerful journey of rebirth. She has moved through heartbreak, disappointment, and difficult periods to find peace in her own way. No longer standing beside a Hollywood superstar, Jennifer still shines, just in a different way, quieter, stronger, and deeper. She is not only a mother deeply loved by her children but also the image of a woman who knows how to rise after major upheavals and rebuild her career and happiness on her own terms. In truth, Jennifer once believed that love, patience, and devotion could overcome any challenge. She spent many years trying to preserve her family, believing in second chances and in change from both sides. But life eventually taught her an important lesson, gently yet firmly. You cannot live someone else's life for them, nor can you carry the weight of decisions they must make themselves. In the end, every person must take responsibility for the path they choose. The marriage between Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck ended after nearly a decade together, leaving many fans with a sense of regret. Although they are no longer husband and wife, they have maintained a respectful relationship, raising their children together and appearing as friends in their roles as parents. As for Jennifer Garner, after everything, she has chosen a quieter life, focusing on family, work, and charitable activities, becoming the image of an independent, strong, yet warm-hearted woman in the ever-changing world of Hollywood. So, in your opinion, what is truly more important in a relationship, love or lasting companionship? Share your thoughts below. Thank you for following the story of Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss more fascinating Hollywood stories in the future.